Good afternoon. I'm Dan Jones, and I'm with Phil Risher. And today we're going to talk about some marketing tips for landscape startup. This is my first time doing one of these, so if I'm kind of fiddling and fudging around a little bit, it's because I really don't know how to do this. As more people, I'm going to try and keep an eye on there for more people coming in and admit them. But with that said, I want to turn this over and just ask you, Phil, why don't you, well, welcome,
Yeah,
and
thanks, man.
why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into having Flash consulting?
Yeah, Phil Risher, Phlash Consulting. So we work with seven-figure home service, landscape, lawn care companies, and we help them increase their sales, keep their schedules full, digital marketing, all that stuff. I used to be in the trades. I worked at a $3 million home service business, helped them grow. And I'm a big speaker on Jobber. I just recently did a webinar with them a couple months ago to all of their people about marketing for home service businesses specifically. And I'm actually speaking at the Jobber Summit with Gary Vee, Cody Sanchez, and some other people. And so that's a little bit about background to me. When it comes to home service, local marketing stuff, that's pretty much what we do. So I'm an expert.
Okay. Yeah, participants, if you can just keep your video off and your audio, that way everybody can see, Phil and I while they're talking, and then but we'll be able to, any questions you have that we don't cover, we'll go ahead and just put them in the chat and we'll cover those after we cover the already submitted questions. Um, okay. So for those joining us who don't know me, my name is Dan Jones, and I started out landscaping back in 2002. I had uh, a, a new family, and I had a lot of expenses that I wanted to cover, but I also wanted to have my own business. So I just started out mowing some local lawns. I built it up from there. I mean, I just had a push mower and then a Ryobi weed eater edger and blower attachment. And then as I would get jobs, I'd buy better and better equipment. Eventually, my first truck, a trailer, had a buddy help me out with some of my kit. He gave me a loan. And from there, I built it to landscaping, hardscaping, irrigation. One of my big focuses was sod, which down in the Florida area, you can make a good amount of money doing sod replacements on people's yards, and then maintaining them. So I had a very active maintenance division and a lot of, like I said, sod and landscaping and hardscaping work. Eventually, I got into driveways, patios. We worked with a couple of pool companies. So after they would install the pool, well, before they'd install the pool, we'd tie off the irrigation in the area that they'd be working. And then we'd come in afterwards, repipe everything, redesign everything with landscaping for people. So I did pretty well for myself, and I sold that back in 2021. And now I've moved on to a few other things, one of them being consulting for landscaping and home service businesses. Um, so that's my experience. And I started out marketing with J. Conrad Levinson, and thanks for looking up that name since I forgot it the other day, Phil, who had something called guerrilla marketing. And basically, it was low cost ways to be able to get your name out there. And he had some really good ideas that worked for my business. And now I guess we're just going to turn it over to some of the questions that you all submitted, and let's let Phil give us his advice. So, Phil, what are the most cost-effective marketing strategies that you would suggest for small landscape and lawn maintenance businesses that are just starting out?
Yeah, so the first one that comes to mind is building referral partnerships. So we have a lawn care company that we work with that partners with gutter cleaning companies, siding, roofing, windows, and doors types companies. The reason that I like this is because it's free, there's no cost to it, and you could give them a referral commission if they refer you business. So basically, if you go to Google and you look up gutter cleaning company in your area or whatever type of other home service that could refer you business, then you call them and say, hey, I'm sure you get asked about this specific thing, lawn care, landscaping, whatever. And then you would say, do you have a company that you refer? No. Okay. How can we become your preferred vendor? And then you start building a relationship with them. Another really good tip on this is if let's say they have a meeting every Tuesday where all their guys are there. You could bring donuts and then you could educate them about your service and why they should refer you. And if they refer you, then you could give the actual technicians or the service team actual like commission of some sort. Whether that's like if you send me a lead, I'll give you $10. If you send me 10 leads, I'll give you $100. Whatever that looks like, it's free to start and it allows you to get going. Not necessarily like a digital way, but it's a really good way. If it was me and I was just starting out, that's the first thing I would do is to go build these relationships. One way that you can do this is obviously, as I said, go to Google, look up gutter cleaning companies and then call them. The other thing you could do is there's local networking groups like BNI networking,
Yep.
where actually referrals and stuff like that it's encouraged to pass referrals. So you could go and build partnerships with people and then have them refer you business. That way works really good. One pro tip on this is let's say you do this strategy, which I'm sure you've all met people and they're like, yeah, of course I'll refer you. And then they never refer you because you're not top of mind or it just kind of fizzles out. What I always recommend doing is getting their business card, taking that business card and putting it into a tool like HubSpot or MailChimp or something where you can keep track of all these people. And then every month send them an email. And it could be something as simple as like, hey, this is Phil. We met or it could be one off. Hey, this is Phil. We met a couple weeks ago. Just want to see how everything's going. Or you could put everyone into a big group and say, hey, spring's coming up. We're getting ready for this stuff. Really big sod season for us. So if you know anyone, please send us a referral. And then you're just staying top of mind every single month and maybe educate them a little bit about the services they could refer to you. So those would be, if it was me starting out, I would recommend that to get the ball rolling. On top of that, oh, go ahead.
Well, if I can, because I'd like to touch on that a little bit because I I did that with a couple of different things like pest control and treatment companies, right? I never wanted to deal with that. I didn't want to have to deal with the storage of the chemicals, registering with the state and having to keep
Exactly.
up with it. It just, it was too much of a hassle for me. So I had a pretty good referral basis with them. But one of the things, after about 5 years of being in business and meeting handymen and contractors and, plumbers and HVAC, because you guys bump into each other all the time, when you're working at houses, getting to know people, um, you can become a source to your customers that keeps you always top of mind. And this almost kind of works the same way as BNI, right? When your customers ask you something like, hey, do you know any gutter cleaning companies? Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. The next time that they need to ask something, for a service, they're going to come to you because they think, well, this person knows the answer. It's no skin off your teeth to give that, but it builds credibility because makes them realize that you're a little bit more respected in the trades community or with other businesses. So they're going to want to deal with you more. I'm a big believer in building credibility through education or just offering things for free to people. So what you're suggesting there is a good way to get cross referrals from different people, and I agree with that. But at the same time, you can build your credibility with your clients, so that you're always the person that they're thinking, well, I don't know, where to get this, but I bet Dan does.
Yeah, exactly. So B2B partnerships are really great and there's no cost to you until you get leads, which is the reason that I like it the most. Is it's all
Right.
just about building the relationship. You can pay for the leads once you get them, or even on closed jobs, you can pay at that point as well. Another one that I like is obviously yard signs. If you haven't done that, you're missing out. Just stick yard signs in the neighborhoods that you want to target and you will get calls for that. That one obviously works really good. And then if you do have jobs in there, doing door hangers and clover around the other homes in the area works great.
Okay. So, with the yard signs, the thing that I would suggest, my experience, of course, just don't throw it into a client's yard.
No, no,
Don't put them in public right of ways. You can actually get fined. Down in Florida, they would ding people pretty hard on those. The fines would be extensive. And if you do put it in a customer's yard, only do it for a couple of weeks and then
exactly.
rotate it to someplace else. One, because that leaves the customer open to you coming back and doing it again in the future if they know, hey, Dan only puts it up for, 10 days or something like that. And also you don't have to buy 5,000 of them, right? You buy
Exactly.
20 and you can, put them up in your 20 clients and then a couple of weeks later put them up in another different 20 clients. So,
That's right.
um, so do you have any examples of campaigns similar to this, maybe that worked
Yeah.
well for smaller businesses?
Yeah, man. So I started in the trades at a air duct cleaning company that was doing $3 million. And when I went in there, he had 36 Google reviews. This was 7 years ago. He had 36 Google reviews, and he was a $3 million business. His whole business was built off referral partnerships. So he
Okay.
did air duct cleaning. He partnered with HVAC contractors, and he had about 100 of them. And he would incentivize all the HVAC technicians to make a couple extra bucks by referring duct cleaning whenever they go and do their inspections. So that's a really easy one. Another one is we work with a gutter cleaning company who partners with lawn care companies to get referrals. We work with a mosquito control fertilizing type company who partners with lawn care companies and passes referrals, like what you mentioned before.
Right. Yep.
So absolutely, it works great. And if you do it correctly and you build the relationships, then you can get a unlimited amount of referrals because you just go and get more referral partners. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to allocate the money up front to get the leads, which is why I like it so much for
Yep.
starting out.
Yep. 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 Definitely. I mean, that's a game changer right there, you know.
Exactly.
So do you think that because we're going to talk a little bit about metrics with some of the other stuff that you can do. Is there a metric for this?
Yeah, definitely. So Um, I'll give you another strategy that we did. So we pulled you could pull a list. Like there's tools like Fiverr out there, Fiverr, where you can go on there, you can get a list builder and you could say, hey, I want 100 gutter cleaning companies in 30-mile radius of my place. And then they'll give you a list for like $50 of all these people, the name of the company, and usually they'll give you like an info at type of email or something. So once you get all those people, you could even just put them into MailChimp or some tool and send out a mass email to them. And what we usually recommend is in the subject line, you put partnership. And then underneath in the body, you say, hey, Dan, came across your website looking for a great gutter cleaning company to work with. I get asked about gutter cleaning all the time, and I was looking to see if we could work together. Let me know what you think. And it basically starts the conversation and opens up the door. So as far as numbers go, usually it's like 10% of those people should respond. So if you reach out to 100 people, 10% of them should be like, yeah, I'm definitely interested in this. So that's a really good number. And then also, if you track the number of leads that you get from your referral partners, then
Right.
you can start to figure out, okay, if I just get another referral partner, then I'll get some more leads.
Okay. Yep. That's good. So, how would you say a small
Yeah.
landscaping company could leverage social media effectively without spending a lot of money?
Yeah. So this is a huge opportunity for most home service companies, and that is using video content the right way. And when I say the right way, it's this. You get on a job site, you take out your phone, you do it yourself like this, and you do this structure. You have a problem, then you agitate the problem, then you tell the story of the solution, and then you have a small call to action at the end. Those four things. So when you create content, you pull out your phone, you say, hey, did you turn on your sprinkler system and it didn't cut on? Or, hey, whatever that sounds like. If you need a bunch of hooks, is what they're called, go to ChatGPT and say, give me 50 hooks about sprinkler systems, mow and goes, whatever you're talking about. Then you agitate the problem and you say, like, no one wants a yard that looks nasty and everyone's having parties coming over. Actually, I'm at this house right now. They haven't had their stuff cut or done whatever for the last, and then you kind of tell the story and the solution about, well, now they're not going to have to worry about being the ugly house on the block because they're getting their stuff cut every 2 weeks or whatever this sounds like. Oh, and by the way, if you're in this area, shoot me a message and I'll give you a free estimate or I'll come by your place and let you know how much it will cost.
Yep.
That structure right there is like a 40-second to a minute long video that you could do every single day on a job site and you could put it out and you want to talk about what's actually happening in the local areas. Another really important piece of this is you're actually talking about the communities that you're in. So on social media, you can tag the cities, which then that's going to pull in the geo target. It's going to show you in more places.
Right.
A lot of times people think, oh, I'm going to do social media content and then my business is just going to randomly blow up and I'm going to get, 1 million views and all my problems are going to be solved.
Right.
That's not what I'm talking about here. I don't care if you get a trillion views or you get 20 views. The most important thing is that you get views in your local area and then you have a call to action at the end that people can take action on. It's not just like a cool video that's happening. It's an actual sales marketing video that you need.
So
So,
and that brings into a point. I don't know. I think it was when you and I were talking a couple of weeks ago. Have you ever heard the about the essay "1,000 Fans"? Were you and I
No,
talking about that?
no.
So basically, I mean, if you look at the whole population of the world, right, that's YouTube. Oh, so many people are on YouTube, and people think, oh, my business is going to blow up because of YouTube. That's not who's going to make you your money. What you need is, like when you're starting out small, you need 100 people that just really dig you, whatever it is that
Yeah,
you offer. They just dig you. They talk you up. Whenever they got a problem, they think about you. They admire you, and whatever. Those people are going to give you money. And then the next time that they've got a problem, they're going to give you money. So the thousand fans principle is you don't need to get the whole world to see your video. You need to get that thousand people in your
that's
market
right.
to become your fan. And so tagging it like you're talking about, but then that leads to the question, what are good platforms for them to put that video
Yeah.
on?
It's going to be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Nextdoor. Those are the good platforms because they're actually showing the content to local users based off their geographical area. Where YouTube, that's not a part of necessarily what they do. On top of that, the content that you create is extremely important. Like I mentioned before, could you go viral with a cute dog that's running in the yard and you're doing this stuff, right? Like, yeah, sure, but who cares? It's not going to generate leads. And
Right,
that's the part of having that structure of a content that's going to actually produce leads that a lot of people miss, which is why they do social media and they have a bunch of followers, but like it's not helping them grow their business.
right. Yep. So, and you're talking exactly, okay, so like I said, I started back in 2002. One of the first things that I did when it came to like active marketing, I always put flyers up in the neighborhoods I want, but I wanted a bigger reach. I reached a little too far. I put an ad in the local paper, which covered 6 counties in Central Florida. 200 and some dollars. Now, everybody's going, what's a newspaper, right? Because you don't see them much anymore. But it ran every day. It ran in the TV guide once a week. It ran in the monthly magazine, and they were just starting online, so it ran there. Now, my first phone call was a bit a mile down the road from me. But most of my other phone calls were in counties that were too far away for me to go work.
Yeah,
So I
but
I I, I learned that target marketing, targeting where you want to work specifically.
yeah,
Um,
well, here's the pro tip on this, Dan. Gary Vee has a new book that came out called Day Trading Attention. So when you do that structure, like I mentioned about creating the content,
right,
then you start to see what gets the best views, what gets the most leads, or people messaging you back. Now, here's the secret sauce. You take that organic piece of content, and now you have your ad. You take that content and now you run ads using that content because you've already had the social proof. You're not guessing if this ad's going to work or not.
right,
And then on these ad platforms, you can target specific areas that you want to use using content that you already know does great to convert leads. So you're basically just taking something that's organic, that's working, putting fuel on the fire, and now you get leads in your local area from the content that you created. That's the whole circle that Gary Vee, he runs that playbook for large companies, Pepsi, Coke, like all these
yep.
big companies. That's the playbook that they're running, and it works.
Again, back to metrics, right? How would you suggest that they record these metrics? I mean, a spreadsheet, and what's a good way to know this is working, that's not,
Yeah.
you know?
Cool. So usually social content has a life cycle of about a day or two. Like you're going to get all your views in the first day or two. So when you post something, then within that day or two, if you get a bunch of messages, you should know that this goes back to this video of some sort. Inside of your call to actions, you could say, hey, DM me free estimate, DM me audit, DM me $100 off, DM me free whatever, and then you'll be able to ascribe back to a video or a week or something if you use that type of
Right,
lingo on there. But the that's the first step. And then also you'll be able to see the metrics like, oh, this video, like you could just do it as simple as that. As far as your return on ad spend. So this is a really important one. If you start running ads, you get this great organic content, then you start running ads. Well, all those leads that are coming in, you need to keep track of like who all these leads are, where they came from, how much money you generated, and if you're just starting out, it's like I just want leads, okay? I don't care about tracking them. I just want a bunch of leads because I'm going to close a couple of them.
right.
But down the line, yeah, you want to make sure if you're spending this much money. Now, one other thing, when you're running these social ads, the goal is to get $10 leads. So that's a good benchmark. If you're over $10, something's wrong. So you shouldn't be over $10.
So
That's
what
just
do you
like
mean
how
by
you
a
should
10?
figure.
Explain what you mean by a $10 lead.
If you spend $100 on Instagram,
Right.
then you should get 10 leads.
Okay.
You should
Yep.
get 10
Each one
leads.
costing you 10
Yeah.
bucks. Yep.
Uh,
Okay.
Yeah, especially if your content, if you use the content framework that I mentioned, and then you actually have a call to action in it and you're targeted correctly, you should be focusing on getting as close to $10 as you can.
Okay. So just so we understand, because some guys, they might not have the money to go into the ad spend on, these targeted marketing, but they can still do the first aspect of this with the videos, post them to these platforms, still, get leads that way. It's just that every day they need to be consistently out there, finding something that's worthwhile, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
look, there's like social media is free and it's a free megaphone to the entire world. So it's free marketing for your business. All you have to do is pull out your phone and record something for 1 minute and don't overthink it. Use the framework that I told you before.
Right.
It's free marketing. Then on top of that, when you start getting leads coming in from your social media, the more frequent that you're posting on there, the platforms are smart. They're going to say, "Oh, Dan always talks about lawn care stuff. So I'm going to show it to this person that's looking up lawn care stuff." And then when you start spending money, Mark Zuckerberg wants you to spend money on his platform. He's going to do everything he can to make sure that it's successful for you, or
Right.
you wouldn't spend money on the platform. So they're going to figure out how to make it work for you from that side of things. What is most important is you start posting content regularly and you use that framework. Talk about the problem, come up with some hooks of what that looks like. Did you know that you don't have to have a brown lawn in July?
Right.
Did you know that when you turn your sprinklers on, 5 out of 6 of them probably don't work? And right, that's like a problem. You agitate it, you tell a story, and then you have
Yep.
a call to action.
And so that kind of brings me into something that I've advocated with, people that I mentor when we're talking about their marketing, because I always talk about email, using your invoices, okay, as a way to market your business, and then possibly even having a newsletter that's mostly informative. But in both those instances, and also in this video instance, what you want to have ahead of time is planned out common themes and common problems that you encounter at certain times of the year. For example, in Florida in the summer, one of the things that you'll see a lot is brown spot or other types of fungus. So you kind of plan out a calendar. Like in July, I can talk about, adjusting your irrigation system not to be running or installing a rain sensor so that it's not running during a rainstorm. How to identify, that you've got fungus. Give me a call. I can
Yeah.
come out there and help you fix it,
So
so on and so forth. In other words, have an annual calendar of all the different things so that you're not having to sit in your truck and go, oh crap, what am I going to talk about today? Because at that moment, with everything else going on in your business, you might not be able to think of it. So always have a
that's
little bit
right.
of quiet time and plan out,
That, that's right. So what I would recommend that you do is go to ChatGPT, say, I do lawn care or landscaping, whatever you do in this specific city.
Right?
Please come up with a 12-month content calendar with topics for each month. And that could be like in January, you should be talking about X, Y, and Z and try to get it to that point. Then what you want to do is in January or whenever you take that topic and you say, give me 50 hooks for short form video content that I need to talk about. And then you'll have a list of 50 things and then you put it in your truck and then you go down the list and just pick one and then you talk about it and then you post it.
Yep.
The thing with the email newsletters and that kind of stuff, it's all great, but you have to have a database before you can email people. So this is a good way to kind of build your list and get stuff going.
Yeah. So this wasn't in our previous questions, but it just kind of, I'm thinking about it. Okay, so for our viewers, Phil and I are both up in Maryland, and it's a whopping, I think it was 17 degrees when we woke up this morning, and landscapers really aren't out doing stuff. Um, but this social media, I mean, do you think that this is something that they should just be continuously doing even in the down season?
Yeah, here's what you should be doing on the down season like this is set up 12 emails to go out to your customer database. So literally write them out, schedule them to go throughout the year. So that way you don't have to think about it when you're out running around. Come up with your content calendar like this so that you have everything planned out for the year because when you get busy, you're not going to be able to be planning this stuff. So using this time. The other thing is, let's say that you don't do snow removal or some of these other winter type of services, but you have a customer database or something like that, and you could cross sell and build these partnerships with people and leverage your database to make some money. That's a really great way. Another thing that's important is if you sell monthly subscriptions and you have this cash flow pinch, you could offer an annual option to your customers. So you could say, hey, if you were to pay in January, for example, for the whole year, I'll give you 10% off. So that way you can pay up front. It gives you that option so that you don't have the cash flow pinch and then you just have to budget it out. But it's a really nice way to leverage your subscriptions.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, but basically, you still want to be talking in some way, shape, or form throughout the
Absolutely.
year. Definitely stay in front. So, what are some common mistakes that small business owners make with their low cost marketing?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is they hear about Google ads and they go and they throw money at the Google gods and pray that they're going to get leads from Google search ads.
Yeah.
Google search ads are not like Mark Zuckerberg. They're not, they don't care. They're going to spend your money and you're not going to get leads from it, which is if you don't do it right. So that's the first thing. The second thing is they get a call from someone overseas who says, I'm going to rank you in the first spot of Google if you pay me $400 a month or whatever that sounds like. That's not going to do it.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is they don't focus on Google reviews fast enough. They know that they're important, but they're like, I get reviews here and there. Every single person that you come in contact with, even if you add them value, that add value to them, just like on this call, like something like this. If
Right.
I'm adding value, why not ask for a Google review? Because I've added something to help you hopefully grow your business. Same thing with any other relationship that you have. Even if it's a customer that you don't service, but you help them with something,
Right.
ask them for a Google review. The reason is because your rankings predominantly are going to be based off your reviews. So that's something that a lot of people miss. They know the importance of it, but they don't capture it on every single thing. It's not in their bones. Everything that they do should be a Google
Right.
review.
Yeah. No, that's true. So, what red flags though would you tell the viewers to watch for that indicate that maybe a marketing strategy isn't working?
Okay, so let's say, well, first off, let's say there's a marketing company that reaches out to you. Always look up if they have Google reviews themselves, because if they don't have Google reviews, they're probably not a legitimate company and understand about growing a home service business. So that's the first thing. The other red flag is if they don't have visibility. So let's say someone says, "Oh, I'm going to do SEO for you." Well, how are you going to track your performance? That's the question you want to ask every single person. How are you going to track your performance? Because a lot of times marketing companies will get on and say, hey, how's everything going? We've been seeing all these impressions and clicks and likes and yada, yada, yada. Who cares? I want leads. And so you need to get that up front of like, how are you going to track your performance? How am I going to benchmark your performance is based off of the number of leads that you get. And here's how I'm going to know how many leads that you get.
Right.
So those are the big things, is like setting the precedent up front with expectations and not, there's a lot of people out there that are going to promise you the world that are not going to deliver because they're just putting you in a cookie cutter thing that they're white labeling or upselling.
Yeah. No, no, you're right. Um, so how can businesses build that strong? Well, we've kind of covered this already, the strong referral network. So, and do you think there's anything more we need
Yeah,
to?
yeah. One thing is you want to make it easy to refer you. So a lot of times, like I mentioned, you might meet someone and it's like, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
send you the leads. I'll send you the leads. They'll all be coming, and then nothing ever happens. So one of the things that we recommend is like, if you don't have a website, go to Google and go to Google Forms and set up a simple Google form, and someone can fill out a form that submits a referral to you. So then you give them this thing and you say, anytime you have a referral, just stick them in here, and then it will send you an email that, hey, you got a referral that came in.
Yep.
You want to make it easy for them to send you a referral. A lot of times, they're going to try to call you and then you're going to be on a job and you're not going to be able to get the referral. And then it's like this whole song and dance.
Hmm.
So you want to make it easy for them to send you a referral. And usually the Google form, if you don't have a website, is the easy way just to get referrals coming in.
Right. Yeah. So, and let's just talk about that for a second because it's also in your sales funnel. Um, you want to have as little friction, I've found, as possible because, I mean, if you do have a website, people shouldn't have to click, then click to get to where they want to be. If you're advertising your lawn maintenance and you got a section for that, that's where they should land right there. The lawn maintenance, to fill out that stuff. They shouldn't have to click and search, and it should be the same, like you're saying, with with the people that are referring. You would just want to limit that friction as much as possible because uh, you're pressed for time, I'm pressed for time, and I'm also a little lazy sometimes, right? I don't want to sit there
Right.
and have to, click through 10 or 11 different things at the end of the day just to finish my work.
That's right. So if you do have a website and or if you paid someone to make a website, what you should do is go on mobile because 50 to 60% of website traffic's on mobile. So go on your phone, look it up. And here's the number one thing you can have. On the top, a sticky header that says call now, and right below that, a sticky header that says get an estimate. The reason is because on mobile, it's even harder to find out how to contact you. And 87% of people do their research offline. So they're or off your website. So they're on Google, reading reviews, getting referred to you. So you want to make it super easy on mobile for them to take action.
Yep. Okay. So, door-to-door marketing, flyers and stuff, not going and knocking on the door because that doesn't work. But I mean, is hanging those flyers, is it still a viable strategy here in 2025, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. What I would recommend is when you do that, just put a line on it that says estimate, and then just write in what the estimate would be for a monthly service. And you already know if you're doing the house next door, that's probably going to be a similar price or something like that.
Right.
So then you already basically give them the estimate right there, and all they have to do is call you, and you already know that you do the house next door, so you know the price that you gave them. It again alleviates that friction of like they call you, you don't answer, you try to give them a price. It's like they know the price, they're calling you saying, "Yeah, sign me up," kind
Yeah.
of thing.
So,
So
and I just want to throw a few caveats in there because that's exactly when I would do flyers, I had a section on there. And originally I started out doing the flyers. I'd look at the yard. Now you can never see the back, so you kind of got to get good at guesstimating. What do I think the
yeah,
back's going to look at? I would stay away from putting a monthly price on there. I would have on there,
yeah,
the
first
blank
time.
and then say basic visit, right?
Yeah,
It's just a mow, blow, and go. Okay. Because what you want to do is get in the door and then you can always upsell. And there, if you need to make your adjustment, now you can make it on the monthly because you're adding in the bushes, you're adding in the bed treatments, all that other stuff. So I would go with the basic. I wouldn't put in the monthly, but having a price on there but in order to put that price on there, you got to know what your costs are, right? What's it costing you to do business? You put that on there. Worst comes to worst, if it's just per visit, if the price isn't right, you're always able to go back and renegotiate. Hey, I got this wrong, but you've got a couple of cuts under now, your $35 can now be maybe 40 or 42 or something. If you've done a
yeah.
good job, most people are willing to negotiate with you. So having that in there is a very good thing. Like I said, I started out doing that, and I would always do it in the neighborhoods that I wanted to get into. After I was established, my crews would have a policy that, hey, this week we're doing every stop that you do, you hang a flyer 3 doors to the right, 3 doors to the left, and all the houses directly across the street that are in line with those houses. And they would do that at every place. And then they might have, the next week they might have a list, pull around the corner and just do this, this side street. But it would be written, I would have it written into their master list for that day, what street they were going to go to and what 8 houses, 10, 10 houses they were going to put the stuff on. And that would fill in my route, right? That would fill in
Exactly.
my route. And so do you see, like, I know you're working with seven-figure companies. Do you see them still using this?
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah,
What
right.
what they do is they actually build in a commission for their techs.
Yep.
So if they get a review, if they have a yard sign out front, if they clover it, the clover method around it, they get a picture of it in their CRM, and then they get that's like checked off from their sequence, and then they'll get a commission for like actually doing all those things for certain things.
So can you explain clover when you're saying clover, what you're meaning by that?
Yeah, it's the same exact thing that you said. 2 doors down,
Yep.
across the street is basically like
Okay.
a clover around the
Yep.
house.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I mean, you really want to be filling in your route. I would hire kids to work, 4 hours a day. Whatever their schedule was before school, after school, whatever. And I would pay them minimum wage, but they had an area they could put their initials on there. And every call I got that resulted in a job, I'd give them minimum $5,
Yeah,
and it could go up from there, right? I mean, sometimes they'd get me a sod job and they'd be just happy as shit because they just got, I'd hand them $100 check, with
exactly.
taxes taken out. But, still, I mean, it's $100 that they had just earned. That incentivized them to make sure they were putting up the flyers.
Right.
And I was more than happy to pay a little bit extra to actually have a job,
Right.
to have that call. Because one of the problems I had when I hired people to put up flyers is, they'd go out and say they were out for 4 hours and maybe they do half a street and go, Jesus Christ, this sucks, and then dump all my flyers in the garbage and, I'm out money,
That's
so
right.
incentivizing them really worked. Um, so how would you suggest, and I can talk about this too, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on how business owners would handle a rejection or hostility from maybe putting up flyers. Do any of your clients ever experience that? Do you ever have to deal with that?
No, I mean, people, they have no solicitation, like don't, obviously those people went the extra mile to put up no solicitation, so like obviously don't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's fine. I think especially if you're upfront with your clients about using yard signs or different things like that, people don't really care. And in my opinion, the way that I look at it is that I'm actually doing a service to them by giving them an estimate because their lawn is messed up. Like, hey, your stuff needs cut. Here's a free estimate for you to help you out. We're doing your neighbors. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
And if they have no solicitation,
I, I, I would occasionally get calls from people that were complaining. Yeah, I had policies. One, don't ever put them in the mailbox. That's illegal. I
yeah,
learned it the hard way. I almost got fined. I had a postmaster general that had a nice conversation with me, and I never did it after that. If there's no solicitation, don't put it on there. My other rule of thumb was if I see like a lawn company working in that guy's yard, I don't care if they're the shittiest lawn care company in the world. I don't need to take bread off somebody else's table. So just don't hang a sign there. It's just you know, if they're a crappy company, the homeowner's eventually going to look for somebody else anyway. So if I see a lawn company there, I wouldn't put the sign up. But if somebody called me complaining, humility. Yeah, I'm sorry. Most people don't mind it. I'm sorry that you did, and I would actually like get their address. And so if we ever went back to that street, I'd make sure that we just, hey, avoid 5426 Sherman Oaks Road. Don't hang a flyer there. It's
yeah,
just most people it's there's that saying it's always easier to seek forgiveness than it is to ask permission. So sometimes you step on somebody's toes, just be humble about it. Let's talk a little bit about brand identity because a lot of the guys here, the guests here, the viewers are they're newer. They really don't have a brand, and they might think that it costs them a lot of money to start making one. But I think that it's something that they should start envisioning now and building on, so that when they do have the money to come to a company like yours, they're way ahead of the game and not having to spend a lot of money to build brand awareness and brand. So
yeah. So a couple of things, get a magnet to put on the side of your truck or whatever you're using for work. That's a very simple way. You don't have to have this whole big wrap. The other thing is, just getting a simple polo, like our whole team wears polos, but get t-shirts or something like that, even if you have a helper or something, make sure that everyone is wearing something that's logoed up. A really easy way to do this is online, surprisingly, because you can get a bunch of Google reviews. You can be on videos every single day, logoed up with all your stuff. And people are like, oh my gosh, this company's all over the place. Like they're doing so much. They have great Google reviews. They have pictures of their team, with logoed stuff on their Google business profile, on their website, on their Facebook. It looks like this whole big shebang when it's only like, two or three people. So the biggest thing would be to get logoed stuff, get real pictures. A lot of times people use stock things on their website. And people do not want that. They want real pictures of real people doing real work, even if it's not super amazing type of quality. They would rather it be real stuff. And then getting Google reviews is probably the number one way. Oh, I would say video testimonials is going to be the best way,
but yeah,
but Google reviews is a very good as well. I know some landscaping companies and lawn care hardscaping that literally after the work is done, they pull out their phone and say, hey, I'm over here at the Dan Jones residence. We just put in this new patio for them. Hey, Mr. Jones, what do you think? How's it looking?
right.
Hey, it looks great.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks so much for having us out. That's
Yeah.
it. Like
Probably
someone
make sure they're happy before you ask that question live on video.
Yeah. Well, you want to ask them. So here's a really good tip for you. A lot of times people might say, "Hey, do you have any discounts or anything like that when you're doing your pricing?" So a really great way to do this is you say, "Yeah, we give $50 off if you give us a Google review. We get $50 off if you do a video testimonial, and we do $50 off if you do before and after picture on your social media and you tag us. Whatever those numbers look like, it's a really great way to say, yeah, we do discounts, but also get them to buy into if this is a good thing, then they're going to do all this stuff for you.
And so that doesn't run against like Google's policies for paying for reviews or anything. It's kind
I
of
mean,
right. Yeah,
I mean, to some extent, you don't want to like be paying out necessarily just for reviews. So
right,
yeah, there's a fine line there. But whatever that looks like as far as incentivizing people to do certain things,
right.
it's a really nice way to turn the discount question into, yeah, we of course we have a discount game plan.
Right.
Like, here's what you got to do.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's good. I like that. So we did have a question. Is the Google Business Pro? Let me see how this was written here. Is a Google Business presence really necessary?
Oh yeah, 1000%. Because what happens is you get a referral and someone goes on Google to find your phone number or to look you up to see if you ever have any reviews. And when they look you up and they don't see anything, they're like, oh, this company is not in business or whatever. That's the first thing. The second thing is that from a rankings perspective, this is a really good low-hanging fruit opportunity where you can stand out amongst a bunch of competitors. You can basically look like you're huge. If you have 100 Google reviews
Right.
and someone else that's been in business for 30 years doesn't have any Google reviews, they're like, oh, well, this company must be bigger. This company must be better. So absolutely, you should have, it's a way to take your offline stuff, put it online and start getting leads.
Yep. No, I agree. I think anywhere that you can, and it's free, right? That's the thing.
Exactly.
Anywhere that you can get your name out. And so Will Egan just left a comment, that he had someone tell him when someone looks at you pulling up, they shouldn't know if you have one or 1,000 trucks. It's about looking professional. Having your name out there everywhere that you possibly can, especially at zero cost, makes you look professional also, just like you said. So thank you, Will,
Exactly.
for that comment.
I agree.
So let me see what else we got here. Uh, well, we talked a little bit about creative ways to build route density. Doing the flyers, not really creative, but it's a tried and true method. Do you have any other creative ways that you can build that
Yeah.
route density?
Yeah, if you do like one-off services, like hey, someone calls in and they want a fall, cleanup or something like that. Basically, you take that street address and you plug it into your CRM or wherever else you did work, and then you go through your entire database and you say, hey, we're going to be in your neighborhood, we're going to be on your street, we're going to be in your city next Thursday. Since we don't have to pay for gas, we have a $15 off your fall cleanup or whatever that sounds like.
Right.
It's a great way to turn one booking into like five bookings,
Yep.
all from the database that you've already served.
Yep. Yeah, that's excellent. I like that. Um, and how about what would you suggest for ways to incentivize neighbors of existing clients to sign up for your services?
Yeah, so there's an awesome tool. I actually interviewed this guy on my podcast. It's called Clicky, Clicki. His name's Kendall Hines. He started at I wouldn't say True Green, but it was one of the franchise ones that his parents owned a franchise for lawn care. And basically what he did was he turned referrals into a clickable link. So I guess yes, Dan, the answer is yes. And the way that you do that is you say, hey, if you give us a referral, we'll give you, a free whatever, or we'll give you $10 or whatever that sounds like. This system with Clicky automated that whole process. But what it could look like is after you invoice a customer for the work, you automatically have an email or text that goes to them that says, hey, forward this email over to a friend and have them, they get $50 off and you get $50 off if they mention you when they schedule their service.
Right.
And you can have that all automated to run after an invoice happens. So there's a lot of cool ways that you can turn referrals, incentivize referrals to happen via automation or even manual.
Okay. So we had another question. Uh, is it true that the more you pay on marketing, the better results?
No, because this goes back to how are you going to track your performance? And this is a common pitfall that a lot of people fall into is that, oh, I'll just pay more to this marketing agency and it must be better results. When at the end of the day, you need them to produce results and they're going to tell you, hey, this is working or it's not working. I guess for people that are just starting off, usually like zero to $100,000 in revenue, you could pretty much do this through brute force by like getting Google reviews, building these referral partnerships, building out a thing, building out a route, that kind of stuff. Once you get to about 100, then you could start a la carting different services. So I'm going to hire this local SEO company. I'm going to have this company run some ads for me, that kind of stuff. Then usually when you get to about 300, 400,000, then you got to start bringing on team members and you start, maybe building out more stuff. I got to get this professional website made, yada, yada, yada. And you
Right.
kind of start scaling from there. But that's kind of the basic trajectory that we've seen.
Okay. And so I've actually had somebody reach out to me the other day talking about they were getting ready to send out 3,000 mail postcards to people. And I had told them in my experience, that's an iffy, risky proposition if you have no experience in it. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. And
Yeah, so Postcard Mania is one of the big ones in the market that sends out postcards, and they have two rules. One, you usually get a zero point 0.1 response rate. So like you send out 3,000, you might get 3 people or 30 people, that respond to you or something
right,
like that, which 30 is a stretch.
right,
On top of that, they say you have to touch people 7 times before they
yes,
reach out to you. So
yep,
if you do one mailer out for 3,000 people, it's probably going to cost you $3,000 and you're probably not going to get anything out of it. The better strategy would be to take that money and do that organic social content, even just boosting those posts or using those posts to create content, and then spend like $10 a day over 30 days and learn and figure that out. I guarantee that you will get leads if you do that strategy. The other bad thing about mailers is that it's cold. You're sending it to a bunch of people that don't know you or anything about you, that are not
yeah,
interested in your service, and you're trying to get in front of them. There's a place for mailers, but it's an expensive way to learn that lesson if you don't have a cadence set up and it's not just like a monthly drip type of thing.
yeah. No, I agree. It's and that's a lesson I learned the hard way. And if your wording's not right, it's very easy, to write something on the internet. You don't get the wording right, especially now with A/B testing, right? You can write two different things, and the computer will help you figure out which one resonates better with people. You really don't get that opportunity when you're dealing in snail mail.
And this is exactly why when you do free organic content that you create, it's A/B testing it every single day for you, and you
Right.
don't have to pay anything to A/B test it. You just post something every day, and you'll see, oh, when I did this video about this, or when I had this in the background, when I did that, that's what really people liked. And then you can just A/B test yourself for free.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, definitely not be spending the money. So, well, we are going to get wrapped up here because we're about at well, we're past the 45-minute mark. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything you want to share before we go on?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a bunch of stuff here. It can be a little overwhelming to say, oh, well, what should I do first? How should I get going on this or that? What my recommendation would be to pick something, especially if you're in your shoulder season, you don't have much going on right now. It's like for the next week, devote time to doing one thing or two things and kind of piece it out. It can be overwhelming, especially if you're just starting out or just one person. So just really try to focus on one channel, one avatar, until you get to $1 million. Like you can usually, if you just post on Instagram and you're posting towards stay-at-home moms, for example, or something like that, try to like focus and not, it can be overwhelming. I got to post on TikTok, then I got to post here, then I got to do this, then I got to reach out to this person and do that. If you just focus on one thing, you're going to get better at that one thing.
Right. There is so for anybody that doesn't know, there is a program out there called Thrive, which if you do want to be doing the social media, it costs a little bit of money to have it, but it does have a CRM in it. It's got, basic invoicing and payment receiving that you can do. And it also has, access to posting on social media. So you're not having to sit there yourself and, well, you got to make the TikTok, you got to make the Instagram, you got to make the Twitter, you got to do, there are other things out there too, but um, yeah. So I want to thank you, Phil. I'm glad we had
Yeah.
this conversation back in December about what I was experiencing, and that you were willing to come on and talk to some of these guys. We will be posting this on YouTube, so all of you will receive an email, so you can go back and look at it if there's any parts that you missed. And if you have any questions, please, you've got my email. Email me. I'll also be sending you Phil's. Well, Phil just put it up here if you want to collect it.
Yep.
You can go to his YouTube channel, and he's got a lot of really informative videos on there that you can look at. And I will include that in the email that I send to you also. So thanks again,
Yep.
Phil. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
man.
talk to you soon.
Thanks. See
Okay.
ya.
Take care. Bye.